to go. All right, cool. If you guys can hear me, give me a 1 in the chat box. Just let me know that you guys can hear me, that everything's good. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Bunch of 1s coming in. Always good to see. So awesome. So welcome everybody, guys. Welcome everybody to our Tuesday webinar, where we like to, just about every Tuesday, we highlight and focus on people that are taking action in their business and rising up, and people that we want to recognize. Obviously, tonight's guest is 100% no exception. I'm hoping that I don't have to hope, because I know it's going to happen. He's going to provide some major value for you guys. So I hope you guys are very, very, very excited for tonight's guest, because let's just put it this way. He has made over 7 figures online, which is, I don't know, I think that's kind of cool. And if you have a pulse, you should be paying attention. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of tonight's broadcast, first thing I want to do is I want to welcome anybody here that is new, anyone here that is watching this for the very, very first time. If this is your first time here, if you've never been on any of these webinars, if you've never been in this conference room, if you've never come to check out a Now Lifestyle webinar, do me a favor and drop a 2 in the chat box, because we want to say hello to you. We want to recognize you. We obviously want to thank you guys for being here, and make sure that we are. Brian, hey everybody, welcome Brian. It is your official first time here, so good to have you here. Thanks for joining in. So obviously, for those that are here for the very first time, please, and also for anyone that is not here for the first time, if you are here just to check this out and participate and learn and educate yourself on how you can build and grow your business, please make sure that you guys have a notebook handy. Make sure that you have a pen handy so you guys can write down some notes, because we aim to give you guys as much value as humanly possible on these webinars and all the webinars that we do every single week and every single day with Now Lifestyle, whether it be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or any webinars that we do during the day. We try to give you guys as much value as possible. So without further ado, guys, tonight's guest is a multiple big-time earner with online. He has been successful in many different companies, and he is also now having very good success, solid success with Now Lifestyle. He's captained and launched, and the man behind the myth that is now 10X Blogger, which I know for you guys is not only another income stream inside of Now Lifestyle, but also an incredible platform. And our guest tonight, Tissa, and hopefully I get this right, Tissa Godavitarne, is the creator and the man behind 10X Blogger, and he has helped you guys get several $700 commissions. Some of you guys have gotten multiple $500 commissions, which is absolutely awesome. So guys, please give a warm welcome to not only a business partner of mine, but a good friend of mine, Mr. Tissa Godavitarne. Tissa, welcome, and thank you, sir, for taking time out of your evening to be here and hang out with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Daniel. It's always awesome to hang out with you. And let me just say, folks, very quickly, if you've tuned into these webinars with Daniel, Daniel is so good at edifying others and heaping accolades upon others. But I think, as many of you know here, and for those of you who may be new and this is your first webinar, you'll come to know Daniel very quickly, because he is one of the top earners, top leaders. He's a diamond in Now Lifestyle, and his leadership just reeks of competence and capability. And well, there you go, right there. And there's proof positive. The diamond encrusted, that's a bulova, I think, right, Daniel? That you earned on stage at the last. There you go, right there. That Daniel and was it Richard and John? Richard and John earned on stage at the last Now Lifestyle event in San Antonio. So especially if you're new here and this is maybe your first time, align yourself with the leaders like Daniel. Pay attention to what they're teaching. The leaders like Richard and John and Janet Leger and Adam and Ashley. These are folks who never hesitate to share their knowledge and spread their wisdom about how they are building their Now Lifestyle businesses. So Daniel, thank you as always. I never want to miss an opportunity to thank you for everything you do. because I get the feedback, and I know how many people are in the field paying close attention to what you're teaching and what you're doing. So thank you for that.
This webinar supposed to be about you, right?
I'm done. So it's great, folks. I hope you have a nice evening. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you.
All right, good. See you later.
All right.
All right. So anyway, yeah, man. Listen, hey, thank you for being here. And it's funny. A lot of times when we do these recognition style webinars, I always try to find a good mix and match of people that have been in it for a little while, whether it be 6 months, whether it be a year. Some people, I've interviewed people that have been in here as literally, as little as 2 weeks, that are already hitting the leaderboard, hitting the ground running, and doing some great things. So it's nice to showcase different levels of mindset, different levels of energy, different levels of engagement, find out what people are doing. I mean, you've been around for a long time, and obviously you've been kind of one of those building blocks inside of Now Lifestyle. Although, I'll just kind of put it honestly, I mean, you've kind of been lurking in the shadows a little bit for the last year and a half, but obviously in the last couple of months, you've really kind of like a Punxsutawney Phil coming out of the hole and seeing his shadow. But it's nice to see you kind of jumping into the limelight now and rocking out and doing your thing. But not only that, which I think this is really the point that we're gonna hit on tonight, but not only have you started to take some action with Now Lifestyle, but you're also pulling hundreds of people along with you and helping them make a lot of money. So kudos to you, my friend, in helping. So here's what we're gonna do. Let's do this right now. Let's do this. All right. So I know for those of you guys that are new, you might not understand this, but the reason why I minimize the videos, I want to see the chat box here. And we'll get into this a little bit later, but 10X Blogger, guys, if you haven't heard of this, 10X Blogger is a new marketing platform inside of Now Lifestyle where you can earn instant direct $500 commissions. So for everybody here that's on this webinar right now, if you have earned a $500 commission or more with 10X Blogger, do me a favor, drop a 3 into the chat box. Again, if you have earned a $500 commission with 10X Blogger, drop a 3 into the chat box. I don't know about you, Tissa, but I see a lot of 3s coming in.
I'm trying to grab a screenshot of all the 3s, but I can't move quickly enough. So yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that is so gratifying to me. I love that. That is
so, I mean, look at that. That's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. That's about $5,000 in commissions that people have earned really quickly just looking at the comments coming in. That's pretty impressive.
It's awesome. I mean, it's absolutely awesome because it really takes me back, and I'm sure it does you as well, Daniel. It kind of takes me back to, when I was getting started and what it felt like to earn your first commission. And for some folks, this is not their first commission by any means, but the reality is the way we have built 10X Blogger, for a lot of people, that $500 represented their first real earnings online. And in so many cases, that's for people who maybe have spent, a year or 2, in some cases less, in some cases more, really kind of grinding it out and doing the best they can to learn and put what they learn into action. And so I know what it feels like. Exactly. Willie just said, what about us newbies? And that's the point I'm getting at, Willie, because a lot of those folks who just typed 3 there into the chat box, they are, well, no longer, but they were newbies as well at some point. And so with 10X Blogger, we've really tried to level the playing field where it doesn't matter how large your team is or isn't. It doesn't matter how large your list is or isn't. The way the system has been designed, and all of this is in your Now Lifestyle back office, it's really been designed to kind of give a helping hand, especially to folks who are just getting started, level the playing field. But above all, it's really gratifying because, again, I see the feedback, and when someone posts, oh my God, I woke up to a $500 commission. I mean, that just lights a fire under people. That just gets you going, and that motivates you. And it's a tremendous feeling for everyone, myself included, to see people seeing results like that.
Awesome.
Really
so let's do this, man. Well, obviously we'll scratch a little bit deeper into the surface of 10X Blogger in a few, but I want to go back before, like, I want to predate Now Lifestyle. I want to go back to your beginning, when I want to get to that moment right now. And I'm sure everybody else, I want to hear this. I'm curious to hear this. I'm sure everybody else is too. What made you decide that you want to build a business online? Where were you? What were you doing? And what gave you the inclination to say, you know what, this is something I'm interested in?
A great question, and very, very easy to answer. So it was back in, so prior to, say, 1998, I didn't graduate from college. And so between college and up until, say, 1998, and I'm not going to date myself too much, but between, college, some time in college in 1998, I was just basically kind of bumming around. I mean, I was someone who was trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grow up. And I still say that I'm trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. But basically just kind of bumming around and, doing odd jobs here and there, off and on. Anyway, so in 1999, being the geek that I am, I managed to land my first real job, so to speak, at a computer school here in Virginia, not far from me. And it was called Computer Learning Center. Some of you may have heard of it. At the time, it was a national company with lots of different locations across the US. Landed that gig as a computer instructor, a teacher, teaching like Microsoft certification courses or what have you. Anyway, that was great. I loved teaching. It was a lot of fun. Well, a year or two later, that company went out of business. And so I was left with, okay, now what? Well, by then, I mean, I'd become pretty aware of the internet. I was, very tech oriented. But above all, as much as I enjoyed that teaching job, the last thing I wanted to do was what everyone else who had been laid off or lost their jobs as well was doing, which was like put my resume online and apply to all these different jobs and face the prospect of, sitting in a cubicle or commuting, or it's not me. And I know a lot of folks here can identify with that as well. And if you have any entrepreneurial bone in your body, you can identify with that, because the last thing you want to do is be constrained and fit into someone else's idea of what they think you should be doing versus what your passion is or what you really want to be doing, right? And so that's really what triggered it. And I just, as much as I knew that I should be sitting there and doing the responsible thing and posting my resume on Monster back then was like the big career, board thing or what have you, Yeah, you remember that. And so I did what so many people have done. I turned online looking for ways to make money online. I mean, I was the guy who was going to, I don't know if Google wasn't the Google we know it at this time. I think I probably went to Yahoo or
it could have been like Alta Vista or something.
Alta Vista, right, exactly. Alta Vista. I think I went to Alta Vista and I typed in, make money online. I mean, literally, I typed in make money online, right? And so, and that was my mindset. And it took me a year or two after that before I finally started to see some success. And my first introduction to an online business was affiliate marketing, where I was doing the ClickBank thing, and I could go way back, but even before I landed that teaching job in 1998, I got my private investigator's license because I went to a 6-month course at the Nick Harris Detective Academy in Van Nuys, California. Another long story, but here's the thing. When I got that PI license, it gave me access to like these various databases that people couldn't access unless they had like a PI license or they were like an attorney or something. And so with that access, back in like 2000 or so, my first real product was something called a privacy scan report. And if you go to like the internet, the archives or whatever, you can still see this website that I built, which is just hilarious unto itself. But I basically started selling this report where people could find out what information about them was available to others, right? And so we kind of went through all these databases and we compiled this report for you. But in that report, along with the results, that's where I discovered how you could actually monetize content, right? So when we delivered these database results to people, this profile, if you will, what I also discovered was, well, you know what? I could go to ClickBank, which sells background check products, for example. And, you know, in that report we deliver to them, we can say, hey, you know what? Do you want to do a background check on someone or yourself or anyone else? Well, click here. And if they purchase that product, well, you know, I earned like, you know, a $5 or $10 or $15 commission. So my initial foray into this online business, as we know it now, was affiliate marketing. And it wasn't until, you know, 5 or 6 years after that, back in 2004, 2005, that's when I discovered network marketing, where you could actually leverage the efforts of others and you could build residual income, you know. So, and that's really when I discovered GVO, which is the parent company of Now Lifestyle as we know it now. That was, you know, GVO was really my first foray into network marketing. And then it was a couple of years after that, you know, stumbling around with GVO and having a lot of success ultimately with my team in GVO. That's when I realized, well, you know what? When you start to build relationships, especially in network marketing, when you start to build relationships with team members, and provide them with, you know, tremendous value, that was, to me, that was like my aha moment. That was like, you know what, if you can provide people with value and build relationships in the process, that's what this business requires. That's what this takes. And then, of course, as I kept moving into that, I realized the value of building systems which can automate a lot of the heavy lifting for us, because really in this business, Now Lifestyle, or really any other aspect of direct sales, the most important thing that you have to focus on is building relationships with people. And all of the other stuff, you know, the more automated tasks, the stuff that you really don't necessarily enjoy doing on a day-to-day basis, that's where systems come into play. And that's how I kind of built my reputation as sort of a systems guy when it comes to building platforms that just automate a lot of the heavy lifting for you, so you can do what you probably enjoy doing more anyway, which is just getting to know people and building relationships. That's what this business is all about.
Awesome. So you mentioned, you kind of sprinkled a little tidbit in there that it took, when you first got going, it kind of took you a while to really, you know, I guess, make your first commissions and really start to build some progress up. So how, like, what did that period of time look like when you first, like when you signed up for your first actual, you know, we'll call it a business opportunity, and then you actually started making money?
Lots of ups and downs, lots of moments when you know, I would feel elated at making some small, tiny breakthrough. You know, maybe I got someone to enter an email address, or maybe they completed a lead capture page, or entered their email address in a lead capture page, and I saw their email address come across the wire, and it was in my autoresponder. I mean, small victories like that were cause for celebration, and they should be celebrated, especially when you're starting out. But, you know, those moments, in all frankness, were few and far between. I mean, you know, it was a struggle. It is not easy. If you're starting out and you're new to this, it is not easy. It is not easy to build an online business, especially when you're starting out. In fact, hang on a second, Daniel, bear with me, because right before, and this goes to the question you just asked, because right before the webinar, in one of the groups, I saw someone post something, and this was literally, I saw this literally before this webinar. This is in one of the groups we have. This is actually in the 10X Blogger group. And Marshall Baldwin, some of you may know Marshall Baldwin. This is what he typed just a few minutes before the webinar started. He said, you know, hi, I heard some days ago that there would be some new opt-in pages, blah, 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 whatever. But then he goes on to say, instead of doing nothing, I have used the existing opt-in pages. Some ads have been disappointing, but others better. Opt-in range has been from 20% to 52%, and my list is growing daily. But what he says right at the end, I think, is most important. He says, my mantra is just do something. And that really struck a chord with me. And it goes to your question, Daniel, because during that time period when I was starting and struggling and the victories were few and far between, even though I couldn't articulate it then like I can now, I think intuitively I knew that if I just do something, it kind of goes to the massive imperfect action, right? Because a lot of people, I think, get caught up on, this long-term plan, and they want everything to be lined up perfectly, and everything must be working, and fail forward. Just do something and take that massive imperfect action. And you know what? More times than not, it's probably not going to work. But over time, it starts working. And that's how you start getting results. So the answer to your question was, it was a bit of a struggle. It was a bit of a struggle. And in my case, I didn't have a job to fall back on because I refused to get one, perhaps to my detriment. I was fiercely entrepreneurial, and I wanted to do it on my terms and my way. But it's a struggle. But I knew, I had the belief, I absolutely knew that I could make it work. And Daniel, you've talked about the importance of belief as well. And so, with the belief and with taking action, no matter how imperfect, that's how I got through those struggles, which really lasted like over a year. I mean, we're talking about a period of maybe a year to 2 years before I finally was at the point where I could say, okay, you know what? I can stop looking for a job where I don't need a traditional job right now, and I can possibly make this work.
Mm-hmm.
So the lesson there, I think, is for a lot of folks who are just starting out, you're building a business. I mean, you're building a business, and you have the flexibility and the freedom to do it on your terms, on your schedule, but nonetheless, you are building a business, and you have to treat it as such and recognize that it's going to take time, but the rewards absolutely follow, definitely.
Yeah, and obviously businesses take time to grow and flourish. Yeah. And I think, I came from the world of retail for me, and specifically the supermarkets. I was a store manager for several different stores, and I think it's an average of about 3 years. So if a brand new store is built, let's call it, XYZ Supermarkets, and the store opens up, it takes on average 3 years for that store to actually become profitable. And I'm sure it's like that with many other retail stores as well. So for those out there that might have a brick and mortar store or whatever, or have run or owned or, worked in, those stores take on average 3 years to become profitable. So you got to look at your online business and realize that it may take you some time before you really start seeing that return on investment. And I think to your case too, I mean, you went through, some of those growing pains of learning how to market, when to market, what to market, like who to market to, and just really kind of getting your feet wet. And, I haven't commented on it, but I can see in like some of the comments here, people are talking about, a little bit of that struggle and a little bit of that, oh, I've invested money, but I haven't seen any come back yet. And you got to realize that, I mean, in the beginning, you are going to put money in, because any online business, you have to invest in the product and or service to own the product before you can actually start earning commission. But in order to earn a commission, that's when obviously you got to put some of the work in, and, whether it be driving traffic or in your case, talk a little bit about when you first kind of developed a system or something that you could kind of share with the team, because obviously you've mentioned a couple of times that you're a systems guy. You like to develop and create systems, and I don't want to get too technical with people and kind of overwhelm them with, too much of the behind the scenes stuff, but talk a little bit about being able to create something and then roll that out to a team so you can kind of have that mass impact and you can kind of help other people win, very similar to what you're doing with 10X Blogger.
Yeah, a good question. I guess what all of the systems I've built have in common is, starting out with identifying pain points. So if I'm building a team, and this is regardless of the company and even the product for that matter. But if one is building a team, obviously you want that team to succeed. You don't want anyone left behind. You want to make it as easy as possible for your team members to succeed. But as with any business, there are always pain points. I mean, there are always obstacles. And, we talk a lot about duplication and so forth. But when you really get down into the nitty gritty, it's really not that difficult usually to identify the pain points. Where are your team members having the greatest difficulty? Might it be, for example, with the consistency of follow-ups, building a relationship with the prospect? That's a huge part of what 10x Blogger does, for example. So, but whatever the case may be, it always comes down to identifying the pain points and then finding ideally a programmatic, and by programmatic I mean a coded software-based cloud solution to automate a lot of that. And that has been really what I've done, and it serves two purposes, because if you're able to build a system which addresses a lot of those challenges that team members are facing, and sort of smooths out those pain points, well, it also becomes a great way of marketing the company or the product, because now you can build your business. A team member can build their business by saying, look, here's a system we have. We have a great company with great leadership. We have the genuinely competitive products of genuine value. And look, we have more than that. We have a system in place that you can use to build your business selling this company's product. So that's always been, that's always been my guiding principle, is to come up with a platform of some sort that eases the burden for team members, that addresses the biggest challenges they're facing. And that's ultimately how we create duplication. I mean, we talk a lot about duplication, but it takes some effort and it takes some planning. And in my case, as I often call it, it takes some gremlins who can actually do the technical part of this and build these platforms that make it easier for people to build their businesses online. So,
in other words, if I were reading between the lines right there, what you're saying is you surround yourself with people that are as smart or smarter than you to help you get to the idea that you have, rather than trying to literally do everything yourself.
Absolutely. I mean, and these are people who are definitely smarter than me. I mean, what I focus on is, I'm the idea guy. I have the vision. I wake up in the middle of the night with a great idea, or I'm taking a shower and I'm like, hey, wait a second, you know what? I can make this even better if I just do this over here. And then, there are much smarter people who will actually put that into action and do whatever coding or programming is necessary. But even therein lies a really important point, because I was actually just the other day, this was a video that Joel did, and this actually became a blog post. I don't know if you saw it, Daniel. It was the billionaire blog post, Secrets of a Billionaire's Mind. I'm sure a lot of people saw that, but Joel had done a video a while ago about time he had spent with his mentor. I think his name is Stephen Copeland, who's a billionaire, founded Corel, right? And he recounts the story of, and there's an important lesson here, because he recounts the story of how he went to visit this billionaire mentor of his in this 35,000 square foot mansion. And this gentleman had invited him into his home, and as Joel is walking into his home, Joel notices like this massive puddle of pee, like in the middle of the floor. And this is like this 35,000 square foot mansion with, marble everywhere and, glass, floor to ceiling glass windows. And the guy didn't even blink an eye. He just said to Joel, oh yeah, just go ahead and step right over that. And as Joel recounts this in the video, he was like thinking to himself, well, like, isn't this guy kind of embarrassed that he's just invited me into his home and he's asking me to like step over this huge puddle of pee, And then later Joel asked him, he said, well, what about the pee back there? How come, why didn't, aren't you like don't you feel a bit awkward about that? And the guy went on to tell him, this mentor went on to tell Joel, I have people, in his case, I have people who will take care of that. I have like 5 nannies who will take care of that. He is focused only on his ideas and ways to grow his business. And the moral of the story, as Joel pointed out, is that you really have to be careful where you focus your energies. You know, I see this in support tickets all the time where, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but I get this in support tickets all the time, you know, for like 10x Blogger, for example, where people with the best of intentions are perhaps so consumed or hung up on one particular detail of why maybe a button isn't appearing where they think it should on a page, on an order page. And that's not income producing thinking. You know, that's the small stuff. Don't sweat that small stuff, folks. You know, have the vision, have an idea of where you want to go with your NLS, your Now Lifestyle business, and don't get too wrapped around the axle on the small stuff, because all that stuff is just that. It's the small stuff. What really matters is that you have the drive and the vision, you know, to go the distance. And so bring it full cycle. So it's the same thing with me. When I build these systems, my thinking is long term. It's okay, how can we take this group of people, you know, whether it's my team or throughout the entire company, and how can we move everyone to a point where they all want to be, where they're realizing their vision, their dreams for their businesses. And then when it comes to like the small stuff, the details, you farm it out, or you just don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. You have to keep that perspective in mind.
This is what I love about doing these webinars. Now, it's fun to think on like so many different levels right now, because a lot of people could hear some of the dialogue that we have going on right now, and they can hear some of the content, and some people might think like, okay, this guy's talking about systems, he's talking about gremlins, he's talking about stuff that's so much beyond me. I'm just trying to figure out how to set up my system and how to get things to work, you know, because maybe I'm new and maybe I don't understand the back office yet. Maybe I don't understand how to get my business going. But at the same point, and I hope other people see this too, and these are the little nuggets that I like to pull out to make sure that we're all on the same page here, is what I'm also hearing, and this is what I want you guys to hear, is that what you're talking about, when you step back and you give it that 30,000 foot view, what you're talking about is literally networking with other people to discuss ideas and help other people win, so you could take yourself from here to up here. And in its simplest form, you are surrounding yourself with great people, with great minds, people that have vision, people that want to do more, people that want to help more people. So for you guys that are watching this right now thinking, you know, I'm unsure, I'm not sure what I'm doing, I know I want to get results, I know I want to be on the leaderboard, I know I want to make more money, just listen from Tissa's cues and start surrounding yourself with positive, like-minded people. Start networking. This is key right here. This is key. Start networking with other people that are in our community. Start networking maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. You can set up a little convo. You can jump, I don't know, in your own actual conference room, just like the one that we're in, because if you are a Now Lifestyle member, you have your own conference room, by the way, BT Dubs. And you can jump in your conference room and network with other people and talk about what's working, what's not working, what can we fix, what can we improve. I can't wait to get to work, and I can't wait to touch base with you guys next week and see how far we've come. So, and I know you've done that obviously throughout your online career, is constantly surrounding yourself with good, positive, like-minded people, and putting yourself in a position to win. And I think again, this is the fun part about doing this type of stuff, because some people can hear one message and what I just explained to you is what I heard, you know, like, you know, you're talking about systems and gremlins and, you know, putting things together, trying to help people win. And that's what I want people to get out of this, is that you are no different from anybody else here. You have a vision. you started taking action, yes, it took you a little while to really get your first results and get going, but because of your positive mindset and your determination to not work for the man, you found ways to win by surrounding yourself with the right people.
You're absolutely right. And then that is the message that I want to send. And different people take different, resonate differently with different parts of the message. But you're absolutely correct. That is exactly the message that I want to convey, because I will tell you that the $6 million that I have earned online since 1999 or whenever, not saying that to brag.
Say that again out loud so everybody can hear that.
The $6 million in verifiable income that I have earned online since I first turned to the internet to make money online. If you were to look at my tax returns, you would indeed see over $6 million in earnings. And I will tell you that not a dollar of that came from me being an expert at figuring out an autoresponder or building a landing page or any other technical minutia that one can think of. And this is coming from me, who really, I'm actually very technical. I mean, it's fair to say that I'm a bit of a geek, but I will tell you that all of those earnings came from doing what Daniel just said, which is, for example, hanging out with people in a room like this and talking about progress, or whatever other form it may take. But in all cases, what it comes down to is building rapport with people, building relationships with people, giving whatever value you can to others. Daniel, you are a master at the ILT technique that you always talk about. Teaching others, invest, learn, teach others what you know, whatever it may be. That's how you deliver value to people. That's how you build relationships. There's the saying that people don't join programs, they join people. They align themselves with people that they resonate with, who are just kind of downright nice people who enjoy the company of others and enjoy making new friendships and building relationships and providing value. And when I look back on what I've accomplished so far, and I have a long ways yet to go, the way I've done it is by building rapport and building relationships, by hanging out with all of you here in this room, and vice versa. For all of you who are here, good for you, because you're especially if you're just starting out, you're putting yourself out there. You're giving us an opportunity to get to know you, and vice versa. And that's what this business is all about. So as technical as I can be, and yes, I have the gremlins who build these systems, I'll be the first person to tell you that you make sure, as Daniel said, make sure you always, always, always surround yourself with positive, like-minded people who are smarter than you. Joel makes this point over and over and over again. Be careful who you take advice from. Would you, if someone is giving you advice, is that someone that you would trade lifestyles with? Pay very close attention to who you're taking advice from. Remove any and all negativity. Stay only with positive people. Hang out with leaders like this here. And that is the secret to building this business, to building your online business. And there's nothing technical about that. I mean, you have the belief or you don't. You enjoy the relationship building or you don't. That's the secret to all of this.
I think, and I want to kind of expand on what you just said there, like plain and simple, and a lot of you guys have heard this analogy before, is that, you pretty much are a mirror image of the 5 closest people to you. So as an example, if the 5 closest people to you are flat broke, there is a good chance that you're broke or very close to it as well. If the 5 closest people to you are very negative, there is a good chance that you're negative as well. But I want you to think about this. When we talk about, and Tissa just mentioned this too, like when you talk about surrounding yourself with positive, like-minded people, especially in today's day and age with the internet and conference rooms and great communities online, when you surround yourself with positive people, it doesn't necessarily have to be the people that are physically closest to you. So for me, I think that I surround myself with positive, like-minded people every single day. However, the two closest people to me, one of them is 4, almost 5 years old, and he doesn't talk. So, but he's positive. He's got a great attitude. I learn from him every single day. The other person is my wife. So, I mean, that's like 1.5 people. So who are the other people that I surround myself with? Well, I communicate all the time with people in my downline. But not only that, yes, I communicate with people in my downline because I'm trying to build my team, but I'm also working with the people that are positive, forward thinking, the people that want to win. So I'm working with those positive, like-minded people every day. But I also take some time and I work with sideline. I work with people like Tissa. I talk to Tissa fairly frequently, and whether it be just an exchange of ideas or whatever it is. Then I also spend a little bit of time networking with people that, exactly to Tissa's point, where he said, would you take advice from somebody, that realistically, I'm not going to take any advice from somebody that, if someone's going to give me financial advice or if somebody's going to give me business advice, if I wouldn't trade places with them because they have amazing results or they have what I want, why would I listen to them? Like if they were flat broke or they were, whatever their situation was, if I wasn't going to trade places because they didn't have the results, I wouldn't take that advice. However, I also spend some time networking throughout the week with people that they have what I want, whether it be more income, a different lifestyle, a bigger, better business, whatever it is. So, I choose my pockets of people that I network with, and you guys can do the same thing too. So surround yourself and, go back to what we were just talking about where, Tissa was aligning himself with people that are going to help him grow personally, help his business grow. You guys can do the same thing with this community. You guys can, I can see you guys chatting here and talking to one another. These are the people that are responding to your questions and answering your questions. Those are the people that you, I don't know, just a hint, but you may want to reach out to on the side and say, hey, I appreciate you answering my question, and then work up a dialogue, maybe get to know that person. But this is how you build. This is how you grow. This is how you develop your mindset, whether you're thinking about this or not. This is also how you develop your mindset, because now you are starting to surround yourself with positive, like-minded people. You are starting to pull those people closer to you. So that's a cool thing. If you have negativity in your life from friends and family or Uncle Phil or whoever it is, by pulling some of these cool, really awesome, amazing, positive people that are here in this group, then the more people that you pull towards you, the further away you're going to push some of that negativity.
No doubt about it. Absolutely. Very, very true. I'm looking at some of these questions here or comments in the chat.
Yeah, I think we can answer some questions in the end.
Yeah.
We get towards the end. So do me a favor, and I know I'm sure a lot of people have thought this too, because you've had some great success online. You've sponsored who knows how many people personally. Your teams have grown and flourished with multiple businesses and obviously now lifestyle as well. What are some things on the daily, both with now lifestyle and in the past, that you do to physically take action in your business? So you obviously, you and many other people here heard me at the Now Lifestyle National event. There's really 3 main core aspects of an online business. Traffic. If you don't have traffic, you have a hobby. Conversion, which is taking your traffic and converting it into, basically a customer or a product user or an affiliate. And then having the right mindset. And obviously we've scratched that surface a little bit, but take me through kind of traffic and conversion a little bit. What are some things that you do in your business or businesses to drive traffic? Like, what does that look like on the daily? What does that look like on the weekly for follow-up? And talk to us a little bit about conversions as well.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting question, especially for me, because, and I don't want to confuse people here, because there are some very important and effective ways to generate traffic and create conversions. And it is the, I mean, all of that is the lifeblood of your business. There's no doubt about it. One of the things I do in that regard, and this is something which I think is, which I have found is surprisingly difficult to do, and that is, and I'll get to the answer there in a moment, Daniel, but because you mentioned on a day-to-day basis, what do I do on a day-to-day basis? And I think that one of the things that can be very difficult for a lot of people to do, myself included, is, depending on your schedule. I know a lot of people, for example, are working part-time or full-time jobs, whatever the case may be, and there's a very limited amount of time that you have on a daily or weekly basis to dedicate towards building your business. Others may have more time on their hands. I mean, I do this full-time from home. So, I mean, I have much more time available to do that. But regardless of one's schedule, I think that even before you get to, okay, I know I need to drive traffic, I know the importance of conversions and mindset, is to focus on how you're spending your time and really check yourself when it comes to, is what I'm doing an income producing activity? Because, oh my goodness, I know firsthand how easy it is for an entire day or hour or what have you to slip away while you're busy. You're busy doing something related to building your business. I mean, you're busy. You're doing something that's in some form or fashion related to building your business. But you have to stop and ask yourself, is this something that really, really is generating income for me at this moment? Mm-hmm. And I think that is because it's so easy. I mean, if everyone did this, just for an hour while you're online or throughout the day, depending on your schedule, and you really checked yourself and asked yourself repeatedly over the course of an hour even, is what I am doing right now something that can actually generate income for my business? I think so many people would be surprised how much time they really waste and don't spend on income producing activities. And of course, Facebook is a huge culprit in all of this.
Yeah.
And don't get me started on.
As an example, yeah. Scrolling on Facebook is not an income producing activity. And to your point, and I'll let you get back in a second, like to your exact point, there's times when I could be somewhere in the house or wherever, and I'll drift off and I try to snap myself out of it, but I'll just be, you get the thumb going, right? You're on your phone, you get the thumb going, and it's like, and you're just trolling through Facebook, and then you're like, what am I doing? And then you got to get back to work. So the point is, to your point exactly, is being able to catch yourself when that happens and get back to income producing activities. Go ahead.
Right, and we know how dangerous that scrolling thumb can be. And I'm at the point, and this really makes a good point in that regard. So on my phone, I don't have Facebook on my phone. I have Messenger on my phone because that I use for communicating. Obviously, I have email on my phone. I receive text messages on my phone. I have Skype on my phone, but I do not have Facebook on my phone. Now, I wonder how many people here do not have Facebook on their phone. And the reason I don't is because it's a distraction. And this is part of the way I keep myself in check. Because I know that if I have my phone with me, which is always, it is so easy for me. It's already hard enough on my laptop, but it's so easy for me on my phone to get lost in Facebook. Whereas with Messenger or just email, you know what? Wherever I am or whatever I'm doing, if someone reached out to me, and now this goes to the question you were asking about leads and so on and so forth. If someone reaches out to me and they've expressed interest in some product or 10x Blogger or Now Lifestyle, you know what? Instead of spending that time scrolling through Facebook and watching the latest, fill in the blank, video about the kitten or I can reply to that person and I can say something like, hey, thanks for your interest. I'm here to help. or they may fire off a real quick question to me, and you know what, I can respond very quickly, and they know that I'm a real person. I haven't even met this person, but I'm building a rapport with them over the phone because I'm being very responsive to a couple of questions that they have about Now Lifestyle or 10x bloggers. So and that takes me back to your question. I mean, in all frankness, I'm not at this point. I'm not doing a lot of the, the solo ads or Facebook marketing, and I'm probably not the best person to speak on that because, I mean, most of my time these days especially recently is on 10x Blogger and building out 10x Blogger to be the best it can be. And yet, what I am doing a lot of is, again, a lot of relationship marketing. I mean, I can't tell you over the course of a day, folks, how many people, whether it's in a group or whether it's a message or an email or a text message, people, reach out to me with questions. And I'm always, and I'm being very sincere when I say this, I mean, I'm always happy and willing to help people as best I can, to serve people as best I can. And that goes a long ways towards building a relationship. I mean, I can't tell you, how many times I've chimed in on a post that someone has made in a Facebook group, or I've responded to someone with a question, and or I've answered a phone call. I mean, I don't like to spend a lot of time on the phone, but if someone has called me, I put my phone number out there freely for anyone to call me. How many times someone has called me and I actually answer the phone, and they think it's a recording, or they're like, is this really Tissa? I mean, am I talking to you? And so in my case, I do a lot of relationship marketing. I put myself out there, I make myself available. At this point, I'm not doing a lot of the solo ads or the Facebook ads, or what a lot of folks really are doing, and are doing with tremendous success. And those sources of traffic are potentially a very powerful and effective way to grow your business. So that's why I said earlier, I may not be the best person to answer that, because if you're just starting out, folks aren't turning to you necessarily for answers to certain questions, but that's okay, because in Now Lifestyle, for example, so much of it is done for you. You can purchase those Facebook leads because Joel has done all the heavy lifting with the ad campaigns on Facebook and Google. And so, there are sources of traffic that you should buy, that you should invest in, and leads are absolutely the lifeblood of your business. Any business, brick and mortar businesses included, have to invest in generating traffic for their businesses.
Yeah. Well, I also think it's important for people to realize too, because, maybe now you're not big on the solo, not big, but not investing a lot in solo ads, Facebook marketing, stuff like that. But you're also in a different position than I'd say 99% of the people that are on this webinar right now, because of the previous time that you have invested in systems, building teams, getting yourself to that certain level of, whether it be income stability, that sort of thing. So honestly, I mean, you're in a position that most people should be aspiring to be at, but that didn't come obviously without all the hard work, the time, the patience, the consistency, the driving, the traffic, the working on your conversions, building your team, having the proper mindset, and all.
Well, absolutely. And you alluded to this earlier, Daniel, where you said that I'm just when it comes to actually building my Now Lifestyle business, I'm just kind of starting to get back into the groove of that and so forth. And so I'm going to, when it comes to building my Now Lifestyle business and toppling you from the leaderboards, or at least getting a bulova on my wrist as well.
As long as you're in the rearview mirror, man, that's all. It's all good.
I'm going to be doing the same thing. I mean, I'm going to be in my particular case, because I've done this in the past, I'm going to be experimenting with a lot of Facebook ads to lead capture pages and pages that I've built. I'm going to be experimenting with buying solo ad traffic. I'm going to be adding the Facebook leads that you can purchase from Now Lifestyle to my marketing arsenal. So I'm going to be doing, as should everyone, you can never stop generating traffic. I mean, if you're building an online business, you should always be doing something every single day, literally, towards generating leads and generating traffic for your business. And the ways we talk about and the ways we teach are the Facebook leads and solo ads and other forms of traffic. Absolutely, you should be doing that. And I will be doing that.
I want to recap on literally exactly what you just said. You always daily, because you use the word daily, want to be doing something that is generating you traffic towards you.
And that's income producing. That is an income producing activity. Yes.
Yeah. So, and we don't have to get into all the different forms of traffic because that information is out there. Be resourceful. Go look it up. There's trainings in Now Lifestyle back office. There's trainings in Google, YouTube University, all that other stuff. But you want to be doing things plain and simple. What is traffic? Traffic is somebody clicking on your link or your website. Same thing. You want to be doing things that get more people to click on your link and possibly opt into your page, opt into your website, opt into your form, opt into your capture page, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same thing. So find ways to win. Get resourceful. Network with other people is what we're talking about. But I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Doing things daily that get people to check out what you have. That's it.
Yeah. It's really not rocket science. It's really not rocket science. And you talked about how in retail, it takes what, 3 years, you said, before you expect to see a turnaround or profitability?
Yeah, with a standard brick and mortar store, 3 years is the average life expectancy for a business to turn profitable.
Right, and I came across a similar statistic when it comes to same thing. It was with regards to franchises, where the average investment in a franchise, a U.S.-based franchise, is about $65,000, and it takes on average about 3 years before you can see that money again. And that's 3 years, as any bricks and mortar store owner or franchisee will tell you. That is 3 years of a lot of work and putting in a lot of sweat equity. And keep this in perspective. What we're talking about here with Now Lifestyle, I mean, just here's a reality check, and let's really put this into perspective. So here's Daniel, for example. Now Daniel, aside from the diamond watch, Daniel is a diamond rank in Now Lifestyle, which means, Daniel, you have earned over 6 figures in Now Lifestyle. That's a fact, indisputable. Now, with Now Lifestyle, you can start your Now Lifestyle business literally for $10 a month. I mean, that's
actually get started for $1.
Actually, that's true. You can start it for $1. That's right. You can literally start your Now Lifestyle business for $1. But you know what? Let's say even if you're at your VIP Platinum and you're paying $50 a month. So we're talking about like a $10 product, a $50 product that you're selling. And now look at someone like Daniel, who has earned over $100,000. So Daniel is someone who has gone from a company selling a product, a $10 or a $50 a month product, to earning over $100,000. And Daniel, you, unlike myself, who's been at this, trying this since 1999, you are relatively new to this business. This whole online thing. I mean, you're new to it, okay? And so you started a couple of years ago, correct me if I'm wrong, with virtually no experience.
2.5 years ago.
Okay, and so a relative newbie, shall we say, who's gone from selling with a company that sells a $10 or $50 product to over $100,000 in earnings. Now, how does one do that? I mean, if I were just starting out, and I was in this conference room, that would probably be the biggest question in my mind right now. And I would be saying, that's great to say, the systems, this and that, the positive mindset, and surround yourself with, like-minded people, which is all very important. But how do I get from, I just joined Now Lifestyle, I just paid the $10 a month, or I'm paying the $50 a month. How do I get to diamond rank? How do I do what Daniel Kump has done and earn over 6 figures? I know the answer to this, but I'm going to say I missed that. Say that again, Daniel.
I have a simple answer for that.
Yes, I know you do. Go.
Yeah. Well, when I first, literally the day that I signed up with Now Lifestyle, and of course, similar to you, I'd been in other opportunities before where now looking back, I will consider those basically learning opportunities, because although yes, I did make some money, I did not make a living. I didn't make like a full-time income, whereas now I do with Now Lifestyle. But when I signed up, I got as many people to click on my.
Good at thinking, okay, what is the audience? What are they? What's the message they're getting, right? And so this is absolutely important, because now that's what I'm thinking. It's like, okay, so if I were a newbie here and you reached the level that you reached, how do you do it? So that's exactly what you were explaining. Yeah.
Yeah. But so what I was adding to also is, so yes, I was trying to get as many people as possible. And I did that many different ways. I created videos on YouTube. I was posting on Facebook. I was messaging on Facebook. I was driving traffic via Facebook ads, via solo ads. So multiple different avenues of people clicking on my link. But what I also did is I started heavily, very, very heavily networking with other people that were in a similar niche. I formed a Facebook group community. I started adding people into my Facebook group community so I could help teach these people and show these people what was going on, what I was doing, how I could help them. And now what was really cool is, 2 years ago, I had 0 people in my Facebook group community. Today, we have over 4,400 people in there.
Amazing.
I started at 0. At 0. And I mean, that's it. So I built a community. I got as many people looking at my link as humanly possible. And I still do that today.
That sums it up perfectly. That sums it up perfectly. Everyone here, I mean, it's amazing. It always amazes me how some people will so quickly overlook what's so readily available to them in terms of how they can start building their business. I mean, look, everyone who's here right now, especially those of you who might be here for the first time or you're just getting started, right in front of your face, right under your nose, you have something. This is being recorded, I believe, courtesy of Carlos, I think.
Carlos is the man.
Carlos is the man, and thank you, Carlos, for recording this as always. But this will be recorded.
By the way, has earned over $1,500 with 10X Blogger.
Oh, that's right, he has, hasn't he? Speaking of that, Carlos, yes, he has. He was like one of the first people, and he hit a home run. Yes, that's totally awesome. So right here in front of you folks, this is going to be recorded, and you can take this recording and you can share it with others. And just, you can deliver this value on a plate to others. And like Daniel said, whatever it takes to get as many people as possible to click on your link. And of course, all these webinars are affiliate coded, but you can take this value and you can share it with someone else perhaps who's just getting started, or start your own Facebook group. Daniel started a Facebook group with no one in it, and it's now up to over 4,000 people just by getting out there and delivering value and building relationships and networking with the right people. And right now you have something of value, even if you just started out, just by virtue of being here, you have something of value that you can share with others, even if you can't get the recording. There has to have been something that's some nugget that resonated with you, that struck a chord with you over the past, however long we've been at this, that you can share with others. You already have so much of what you need to get this started.
Let me chime in on something here. So obviously, you've been in this for a while, it's fair to say. So in order to still be doing what you're doing, to be working from home, build several successful businesses online, you're on yet another successful business, not only with Now Lifestyle, but with 10X Blogger, which is another income stream inside of Now Lifestyle, great blogging platform, a great opportunity for you to get your message out there and build rapport with people. In order to be in the position you're in, whether it be me, whether it be you, whether it be anybody that is ultimately having success online, in order to do that, you have to, which is step number 3, you have traffic conversion and then mindset. Clearly, you have had to I'm guessing, unless you just happen to be that type of person, I'm sure you've had to do some type of work, effort, consistency, things to work on your mindset, to stay positive, to stay focused, to remember your why, and all of those other things that are involved in your mindset. What are some things that you either do consistently to build your mindset, or what are some things that you've done in the past that have really helped you, have that consistency in your business with a positive mindset?
I'm just, this kind of goes back to, not having Facebook on my phone. I got to tell you, well, for one, again, so easy to get sucked into this. No news on TV, bad stuff. I mean, seriously, that is one thing which it may not sound like a big thing, but whether it's news on TV, yeah. I mean, it's I go out of my way to avoid. Well, I'll be quite frank. I go out of my way to avoid people that complain too much. Eric Worre did a great video about this just the other day. And, he said that, the people who tend to complain a lot are typically the problem themselves. And I don't mean to sound harsh here, but I'm just being very frank. Since you asked, Daniel, I tend to avoid, I avoid complaining. I avoid drama. I avoid negativity. That's really as simple as I keep it. I mean, if I catch myself getting sucked into, someone who's complaining about something, or caught up in drama, or anything that I perceive to be negative, I remove myself from it.
Yep.
That's really as simple as I keep it. And I'm always very polite about it, and I'm always very gracious about it. But even on my own time, I'm just very conscious of what I'm paying attention to. And I'm a huge believer in, you attract what you focus on. And if you're focused on, what can go wrong, or what's not working as it should, or that you only attract more of that. And maybe this is in my constitution, maybe it is in my genes, but I'm really, really good at seeing the flip side of things, the positive side of things. I mean, I'm at the point now where, I know that, especially when it comes to building systems and all of that stuff, or even building a business, I know that if something can go wrong, it probably will. That's just the way it is. But I also know, without any hesitation, there's no doubt in my mind, because this has happened so many times to me, that something has not worked out the way I planned, or something broke, or something went wrong, or some ad campaign just completely crashed and burned. I thought it was awesome. It just fell flat on its face. And more times than not, some opportunity has always come from that adversity. It's like it's provided me with a way to do it a bit better the next time around, or it's given me an idea that I wouldn't have had previously. So I'm really, maybe it is in my makeup, but I'm really, really good at seeing the flip side of something when it doesn't work. And a big part of that is keeping that positive attitude, because I will tell you that, when you're building a business, you have to be really, really good at cutting out whatever drags you down, whatever's negative, the complaining, and you have to be really, really good on focusing on the upside, and how you can build it, and you can do it differently, or you can do it better. And then also knowing magic tricks. And I promised someone I would do this, so I'm going to do this. Okay. Not everything is easily duplicated. Not everything is easily duplicated, much like this. Okay, check this out. Okay, now this is not a requirement to build your business. Okay, hold on a second. Let me see if I can do this. Perfect, I did it. Yeah, so that's not a requirement. I did that for someone. You know who you are. Knowing magic tricks isn't a requirement, but seriously, all jokes aside, do whatever you can to avoid the negativity and cut out the complaining and the drama. It makes a huge, huge difference. It really does. Now,
is there anything that you have done in the past to get to that point where you can, mentally do that every single day? You can put yourself in a position to kind of push away the negativity and, not watch the news and separate yourself from that?
I mean, listen, I mean, it has been a long journey for me. I mean, some of you, I don't know exactly who's in attendance, but I mean, I know some of you, many of you have been following my story for, quite a while. And I was with another company a few years ago, actually more than a few years ago, where, I was on stage at an event and, I shared kind of like what you did, Daniel, at the San Antonio event. And I shared with like 5,000 people, a lot of the struggles that I had been through, that my family had been through, and it was probably, the darkest period of my life. It was something that was incredibly challenging, where my back was against the wall. I mean, it was a very difficult time of my life. And I'm not going to get into all of that now here, but the point I'm trying to make is that, so many of us, and this is part of life. I mean, so many of us, have experienced such adversity, and maybe some of you haven't, and that's okay. But I think a big part of it for me has been, when you experience such a tremendous level of adversity, and you're able to overcome that, and you really get in touch with your why and what's important to you and what matters and why you're doing this. And it's not just about, generating as many leads as possible. It's like you said in San Antonio, Daniel, it's about making sure that your family will never, ever have to worry about money, that your wife and your son will never, ever have to worry about, where the next dollar is going to come from. I mean, that's your why. That's what drives you. And I think a big part of that positive outlook on my part, excuse me, has come from a lot of adversity. Excuse me, it's come from overcoming a lot of that. And so, you know what, when something, does break or something doesn't go as planned, you know what, so what? I've been through much worse, and I know what the upside is, and I know what the potential here is, and I'm not going to let, whatever it may be, interfere with my mindset or prevent me from going where I know I'm going to be, because I've seen much worse and I've overcome that. So that for me personally, that's a big part of it.
Well, I think the underlying thing that I'm hearing is, plain and simple, you know your why. You know your why, you understand your why, you have that force down inside you that drives you, that pushes you to do more, to be more, to get to that level where, you know you're going to be, because that's what keeps you going every day. And I think that also helps kind of form and shape and, solidify your mindset to push out the stuff that is not going to, obviously help you move forward, and keep that stuff far away so you can continue moving forward and heading in the direction that you need to.
Yeah, everyone is here. Everyone here is from a different background. You're here for different reasons or what have you. But I'll tell you the way it is for me. I mean, and my children are within earshot, so I'll try to avoid the profanity. But for me, this is some serious. I am building a business that is responsible for the livelihood of my family, first and foremost. I'm building a team, and I know my team members, and my team members have their whys, and so many of my team members are in it for the same reason. They are not around here, and that's where I'm coming from when it comes to, whatever the business is or whatever the company is, or whatever the system is, those are just kind of the tools of the trade. But, Daniel, folks like Daniel and myself and so many other leaders in Now Lifestyle, we are coming at this not as some casual pastime or hobby, for some part-time, supplemental income. No, we are coming at this with all of our strength, with all of our soul, with all of our might, because there are livelihoods that depend on this. Our families depend on us building a successful business. We have team members who are, there you go, right there. We have team members who are in the same position, who are turning to leaders for knowledge and insight, because they are here for the same reason. So if you really want, I mean, if at least speaking for myself, and I'm sure for Daniel as well, I mean, this is what we do. This is what we are all about, and we are all about servant leadership and lifting others up. First and foremost, taking care of our families, you know, and the vehicle we have chosen for that is Now Lifestyle, you know, and if that's something that resonates with you and strikes a chord with you, in many ways, I think that's what's required to have the level of success that folks like Daniel and myself have had. You know, if you're, that's that saying, if you treat it like a hobby, then what is it? You get hobby income or something like that, or what have you, you know, but the folks who are having, the same can be said of Joel. You know, I mean, Joel lives and eats and breathes Now Lifestyle. This is his passion. Now Lifestyle is a vehicle for his vision, you know, and I think that's the level, and I don't want to make this sound so hard, but I mean, that's the level, at least for me personally, that's the level of dedication that you have to bring to the table if you want a massive level of success. And maybe I'm turning some people off by saying that, and I, you know, but I'm just sharing what it has taken for me to achieve this level of success, and it becomes your everything, and you're driven by your why. You know why you were doing this, and that's why when the bumps in the road come along, like you can't figure out the autoresponder, or that traffic campaign is not working, or you just ordered, you know, you spent $300 on a solo ad, and you had like a bunch of opt-ins, or maybe you had no opt-ins, or no one converted, or whatever. Yeah, so I mean, this is par for the course. This is what we do. We're not going to let a stupid solo ad, you know, bring our business down.
Yep. Exactly. And I think I want to kind of add on top of that, where this is the mindset piece that I think a lot of people need to think about, and we'll hit on two more things, and then we'll wrap this up because we're going on an hour and 20 minutes here. If you, plain and simple, like if you, at the base minimum membership to Now Lifestyle is $10 a month, $10 a month. Okay, so I want you guys to think about this. If you treat your business like $1 million business, okay, so just imagine, take a second and imagine and think like you just invested $1 million into a business. What type of work, effort, energy, sweat, passion, tears are you going to put into this so it can pay you like $1 million business? Because if you treat it like a $10 business, it's not going to pay you. It's not going to pay you, or you might earn $10 here and there, you might earn $5 here and there, but it's not going to pay you like $1 million business. So put yourself into a position where you have the mindset where you are now the owner of a business that can pay you thousands, hundreds of thousands, even over $1 million if you put in the work and effort and energy of owning $1 million business. But if you don't put in the work and effort and energy and all that other things, if you don't put in that effort and energy, then you're not going to get the results that you want, period.
Yeah, I mean, that's so well said, Daniel. There's no doubt about it. And you know, quite frankly, I think, you know, because there is such a low barrier to entry when it comes to starting an online business. I mean, like you said, we're talking about like $10 or $50 a month, whatever the case may be. Because there is such a low barrier to entry, I think in some ways that can almost be self-defeating sometimes for people, because, you know, hey, it's only $10, right? I mean, it's only $10 a month, you know, and that can, if you're not paying close attention to the way you're thinking, and you're not thinking the way Daniel just said, where you're treating it like $1 million business, and subconsciously you're saying to yourself, well, you know, it's just $10 a month, you know, I mean, hey, you know, if it works, great. I mean, I really want it to work, you know, but, you know, if it doesn't, okay, well, you know, it's $10 a month, right? If that's the attitude you're bringing to this, that's not treating it like $1 million business.
Yeah, it's a lottery ticket.
Yeah, exactly. And don't get fooled by the low entry point, the low entry price here, whether it's or the $10 a month price. Don't let that fool you, because Daniel didn't get to being a six-figure earner by treating it as a $10 business. There's no way he would have gotten to six figures by treating this as a $10 business. No, he treated it as a business that feeds his why, because it's a way for him to make sure that his family, his wife and his son, never have to worry about being provided for again. I mean, you see the difference in the thinking there. And so I saw someone had asked a question just now about, I'm not sure even what it was, but it was a very good question about files or something like that. And there was another question I saw about something else, which very good questions, and nothing wrong with asking those questions. But when you ask these very technical questions, and I know it can be frustrating because someone like me comes along and a lot of folks have questions about, okay, well, how do I can't navigate the back office, and I'm not sure how to, set up the autoresponder or whatever. And it can be frustrating, I know, for a lot of people, for someone like me to come along and start talking about like mindset and like, the aerial 30,000 foot view and everything, and the importance of belief and staying positive. But I'm here to tell you folks that, I wouldn't have accomplished what I've accomplished so far. Daniel would not have accomplished what he has accomplished so far if he didn't think in those bigger picture ways, and when it comes to the little stuff, just be resourceful, be resourceful, ask in the group or what have you, but that's just the little stuff. Don't get hung up on that. Really, believe me, if there's one thing I can share with you that is most responsible for my success, is don't get wrapped around the axle. Don't sweat the small stuff. Keep foremost in your mind why you are doing this. Keep foremost in your mind where you want to be, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. Always be in touch with your why. Know what your purpose is. And all that other stuff, you'll figure it out. Just be resourceful and be self-reliant, and you'll figure it out. But don't waver from that compass when it comes to your why and what your higher purpose is when it comes to building this business.
I think, honestly, out of the hour and 24 minutes that we're on, you just dropped some of the biggest nuggets of the night in the last 30 seconds right there.
This is typical of me. I start rambling and it's only like 90 minutes later I finally get to my point. Okay, so
well, listen, on that note, I think we've covered quite a bit, especially in regards to mindset and being positive and surrounded yourself with the right people, for sure. So real quick, like, for anybody that is, watching either this live now, or they catch the replay, or they catch this on YouTube or whatever else, for anybody that's sitting on the fence, that hasn't gotten started yet, or that's thinking about getting started, thinking about building a business online, what would be your advice to that person?
Stop thinking about it. Start doing it. You can think about it all you want. It doesn't mean anything. You can ponder and analyze, and before all the analysis paralysis, and should I, would I, could I, but what about this, but what about that, what if this, or what if, it comes down to a fundamental decision, in my opinion, that you have to make. And if you're looking at building an online business, there's probably a reason why. You're probably lacking, or you're wanting something more than your current financial position, or you're wanting to be able to provide better for your family, or whatever it is. There's a reason you're looking to begin with. Okay, so we've established that. So now you just have to make a decision. You really have to make a decision. There's no more thinking about it. Won't get you where you want to be. You have to make a decision, and that decision may be, this isn't for me, and that's fine too. That's perfectly fine. But you have to make a decision, and you have to know why you're making that decision. And I will tell you right now, if the reason you're making that decision is because you want to make an extra $500 a month, that's not going to work. That in my opinion, that is not going to work. Because if you start out in this business, or any business for that matter, in my opinion, because you want to make extra money, in my opinion, chances are that is not going to serve you well. You have to start out with, again, your why. It's not about the $500. What does that $500 represent to you? Does that $500 maybe represent being able to buy Christmas gifts for your child? You know, does it, I mean, I've been in this situation, and this kind of goes back to the struggles I went through many, many years ago. You know, in my case, and leave it to me to drop this at the end of the webinar again, but in my case, you know, it meant my children not having to go to the gym to take showers because we couldn't afford to pay our gas bill, our propane bill, and not ever wanting to be in that situation again. That's what that $500 extra per month meant to me. So, you know, so make that decision and know why you're making the decision. And if you make the decision, with that decision comes commitment, right? So you're committed. You know, it's like when you know, it's like, I was going to make an analogy, but it probably wouldn't have been the best analogy. But yeah, make the decision. Thinking about it is not going to get you anywhere. Make the decision.
Yep. And I'll kind of leave with this too. And I did this with Paulo. If you guys missed the interview that I did with Paulo Barroso last week, we talked a lot about why. We talked a lot about mindset as well. And I think that's what these webinars are great for, because most people, as we mentioned earlier, get caught up on the technical stuff. But think about this, when people get into an online business, most people initially, and if you stay in it long enough, you'll uncover the why, but most people initially get into it for the money. So think about this. If someone says, well, and this is how you figure this out. This is an exercise that you guys can do. Uncovering your why. Well, why do you want to build a business online? Because I want to make more money. Well, why do you want to make more money? I want to make more money so I can get out of this debt. Well, why do you want to get out of debt? Because I hate being in debt, because I struggle and I'm not able to provide the things for my kids that they need and deserve. Well, why do you want to provide more things for your kids that they need and deserve? Well, because right now they're not getting what they deserve, and we're just not spending that quality time together because I'm constantly working. Well, why do you want to spend more time together and work less? Because our relationships are really broken, and you know, it's a struggle to have a good functioning relationship with my son or daughter, whoever, significant other. Well, why do you want to improve that relationship, and why do you want to have, you know, more of that time so I can experience more joy, and we can travel more, and we can be a better family, because I know we have that capability, and I know that, you know, I love my family and I love my children, but we're just not at that level yet. So why do you want to get to that level? Because that's really what's important to me. That's what's driving me. Now you got it. You know, so you just got to ask yourself why enough times to really drill down to that point of, this is why I want to do this. So on that note, we're officially at the hour and 29-minute marks.
I'm sorry.
No, that's cool, dude. Listen, we're good. All good, man. I truly appreciate you spending the time and hanging out with us, and throwing all the nuggets that you did, whether it be about mindset or traffic or communities or people or all of that stuff, man. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you on these webinars, and I always pick some nuggets up myself. So any last words for the NLS community here?
I love what you just said about drilling down to your why, Daniel, and thank you so much for everything you do. I meant everything I said at the top of the webinar. You're such an inspiration, and your leadership is so appreciated. So thank you, my friend.
Thank you, my man. Appreciate you. Awesome.
Okay.
So guys, we'll open this back up real quick here. Yeah, if you guys thought that hopefully you guys got some value out of this. Hopefully you guys had a pen and some paper and you guys took some notes. But if you guys got value out of all the nuggets and magic tricks that Tissa sprinkled on here for you, please throw some A's. That's electronic applause down there. Let Tissa know how much you appreciate him as much as I do. And obviously I love seeing all those those A's coming in. So awesome, my man. Again, thank you guys for hanging out. I know it's on the East Coast here. It's 10:30 at night. So thank you guys for hanging out. Tissa, my man, as always, a pleasure. We will see you guys We will see you guys very, very soon. Stay tuned tomorrow night for Richard and John at 8 o'clock Eastern, and also for Janet on Thursday. She'll be dropping some bombs at 8 o'clock Eastern on Thursday as well. So for my man Tissa here, I am Daniel. We'll see you guys on the next live webinar. As always, we will see you on the leaderboard. Have a fantastic evening.
Take care, folks.